Receive a $1,000 grant by taking 6 or more credits in classes starting March 5th. Stop by our Grand Rapids campus. Click on davenport.edu or call 855-DAVENPORT.
Listen again next week at the same time for another edition of Clearly Community on your favorite Clear Channel radio station.
Betsy, look at these sweaters. They'd look amazing on our girls.
Maybe.
Come on, what's wrong?
Suzanne, I have no business being in the store. I should not be shopping. Things are really tight. We're behind on our mortgage.
Listen, Bill and I had the same problem, and we got some really great counseling, and it was free. I'm going to email you the information.
If you even think you may be in danger of foreclosure, call the National Foundation for Credit Counseling today at 866-687-6322 or visit mortgagehelpnow.org. Public service from the NFCC.
News Radio, I'm Liz White. As tensions with Iran rise, so do gas prices, with the national average for a gallon of gasoline spiking at $3.53.
The Oil Price Information Service predicts gas could peak at about $4.25 a gallon by the end of April. Meantime, drivers say all they can do is try to cope and conserve.
Reporter Lydia Oikai with Fox TV affiliate WNYW. Denying allegations of misconduct, a nationally known sheriff is resigning from Mitt Romney's committee in Arizona. Paul Babu says he never threatened to have a man he was dating deported, but Babu says he's been threatened for years about his sexual orientation.
I've had numerous people that would threaten this to me, to expose me, go to my chain of command, even in the military, and report this, and have done so.
And Babu says he is still running for Congress. Fox News, we report, you decide.
Here's the official News Talk 1090 WKBZ forecast for today. Sunshine and clouds together with a high of 36. Northeast winds 5 to 10. Some clouds early tonight, then becoming mostly clear overnight, a low of 26 with light variable winds. Tomorrow, partly cloudy skies and a high of 39. Southeast winds 10 to 15. Then it looks like rain and snow showers for Tuesday with a high of 39. And more of that on Wednesday and a high of 41. Keeping you informed, this is News Talk 1090 WKBZ, the talk of Muskegon.
Well, you dadgum government, you sorry so-and-sos. You got your damn hands in every pocket of my clothes. Well, you dadgum.
Good morning, Muskegon. This is EyeOnMuskegon. And I'm Jim Riley here in Muskegon's Clear Channel Studios. My friend and super engineer, the legendary Oscar Oswell. And also with us to help bring the truth that the power brokers don't want you to hear is West Michigan's own Renaissance man, Tracy Lorenz.
That's right.
Good morning, Tracy. Good morning, Oscar.
Good morning. The sweater's actually from the Renaissance.
There we go. You look very...
I bought it in 1630.
Well, if you could have taken the arms, the arms off of that, you would be Santorum-esque also. But you're not. You are Renaissanceian. And we are live here in the wonderful Clear Channel Studios, WKBZ. I joke a little bit about the fact that we are Muskegon County's #1 rated political talk radio show. Of course, the facts are that we are the only political talk radio show in Muskegon County, and we are really one of the very, very few political talk radio shows, or television for that matter, that talk about Muskegon County or West Michigan events from a conservative viewpoint in all of West Michigan. And I would ask those of you who are listening to please spread the word, because when you do get the newspapers and when you do watch the local news on television, and there's very little on radio that talks about politics and the things that do affect you, it'd be nice to have some competition. Truly,
local.
It really would be about. Let's get people talking about the events that are affecting us. Let's get people talking about the votes that are made by your county commissioners and your city commissioners and your township trustees and the school boards, and on and on and on. And Tracy, I know that you, of course, have got very deep Muskegon roots, but you're now living across the border. I'd say it wouldn't be the Cheddar border. Oscar, we got to come up with a name for the folks that live south of us in the.
It's warmer. Yeah, it's closer to the equator. That's why.
Warmer. There we go.
That's why I moved there.
Well, whatever. Today, again, February 19th, 2012, and as our radio promos promised all week, we're going to focus on Muskegon County. Two of the big issues that we're going to talk about a little bit afterwards will be, is Muskegon County rolling in so much dough that we can afford to expand the very seriously money-losing bus system, expand that out to Montague, Ravenna, and Holton. And
I can take the bus here then? All right.
You may be able to.
Cool.
I know that when I did my little bus transportation show a few months back, because I'm a seasoned citizen, I was able to travel wherever I wanted for 60 cents, which was kind of nifty.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I love it. You know, the wonderful thing about being a seasoned citizen and maybe being a little disappointed in the youth of America is that when I travel for 60 cents on the bus, the youth of America picks up the $47 extra cost that it really does cost. So it's a nice slap in the face to the youth of America every time I hop on a bus. It makes me feel a little bit better when I'm disappointed.
Added value.
Well, exactly. But we will get to those in a moment. But I do have a few things that I did want to push on, because as we are attempting to bring the voice of conservatism, and really it's not even conservatism. If you've been listening to the show, I don't think come off massively right-wing here. We want to bring transparency to government, and transparency so that you know what's going on with your counties, with the folks who are making decisions, the folks who are actually spending your money. So I'm going to just give you a quick update. Of course, you can listen to the show every Sunday morning, 8:30 to 10 on 1090 AM WKBZ. You can live stream, which means that you can go on your smartphone or on your computer anywhere in the known universe. If you are a Neptune or Uranus and you have a smartphone, you will be able to grin and say, here I am, a Neptune or Uranus, and I'm able to plug in my smartphone, newstalk1090.com. Just go there, newstalk1090.com, click the iHeartRadio button. You can listen to the show live. You can download an MP3 file that you can play on your MP3 player.
I liked pile better, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's kind of Freudian there.
Well, we were talking old people's ailments earlier, so it's maybe kind of is sneaking out there. But you can do that. Get an MP3 file, and you can listen on your iPod or your MP3 player.
Can I put it on my Walkman? I haven't quite got to the technology yet. I have an MP2. I'm a little short.
Or an MP dash. No, your Walkman will not work. Although Oscar, for all I know, you mentioned stuff like this, and Oscar's a techno whiz.
Yeah, well,
we may find an app that will walk with this with Mr. Sony.
You can find those at garage sales and stuff now these days.
Actually, I still use mine when I work in the
Do
yard.
you really?
But that's another issue.
Wow.
You can listen now. Here's a couple things that Oscar's brought
real
to us.
Real.
Not real to real.
I have a reel-to-reel player on my
8-track.
Well, I'm all for that. I'm sure there's plenty of listeners that have got 8-tracks out there.
Yeah,
but we are. But for those folks who are not super techno, we are every Monday night, 8:30 or 8 o'clock to 9:30-ish. We are on Comcast TV channel 397, so you can see a replay of the show. And with video, so you can see us sitting in front of a microphone. It's fascinating.
Yes, please watch, because I was in makeup for like a half an hour when I got here. They took me in the green room, and it was quite an event.
Well, I'm going to blame Susie Hughes for the fact that I wear a hat now, because she said she enjoyed watching the show on television, but the glare from my forehead was such that it took away from it.
I couldn't adjust the white balance on that one either.
Yeah. There was no amount of white balance adjusting that was going to fix that. So we're wearing a hat for a while. And of course, Oscar does upload the videos, usually early in the next week, that you can see yourself on your computer, and that's just go to EyeOnMuskegon.com, and all that information's there. So I didn't want to belabor that point, but we are talking about issues that are important to you. Not everybody can get up and listen to the show live. There are a multitude of ways that you can listen to the show. And pass the word around, because we need the power of the people in order to change the folks who know that, and truly they are bulletproof. As long as we are going to be quiet, as long as we're not going to be going to meetings and picking up the phone, they are bulletproof. They can do whatever they like, and we will shortly attend to some of those things that are so annoying to me. Think about it. When you know that nobody's watching, when you know that you are bulletproof, When you know that you just can go to a meeting without any preparation whatsoever and vote willy-nilly, and there's absolutely no blowback at all, other than perhaps the unions if you happen to vote against a union issue, then you're going to do the things that the unions are going to push on you. Well, let's get to hot topics. These are items that caught my attention for the past week. Well, yeah, I know.
We need some sort of sound effect. Don't you have like a
we're working on that. We're
bacon
working on
or something?
That,
You can
actually, Oscar,
little Hanna-Barbera sound effect.
Oscar did come up with a whole bunch of things which I was supposed to have attended to. But yeah, we're gonna multimedia this thing to death. One thing, an item. There was an article in the Chronicle
bacon or something
last week, or perhaps it was a couple weeks ago. But there was a gentleman who had written a letter to the Chronicle, and they deemed it an important enough letter that they put it in the paper. And he was saying that demanding photo ID in order to vote was the equivalent of a poll tax. And I think he was a gentleman of color, as apparently that's the correct word for the people who are complaining about photo ID.
I thought he was Polish.
It could have been.
Well,
it might very well have been a Polish tax, in his view. But what we are now finding is that finally people are starting to take a look at the Poles, and the Albanians and the Czechoslovakians. No, I'm getting off topic here. They're looking at the Poles, the people who are registered to vote. And the Pew Center for the States, which is not a right-wing organization in any way, shape, or form, but it just came out with a report that discovered that 1.8 million dead Americans are registered to vote. And what's perhaps worse is what they say here, and I would say it may be just the tip of the iceberg, but almost 3 million Americans are enrolled in 2 states each, and many other thousands or hundreds of thousands are multiple enrolled to vote all over the country. And in our state, we're going to next week we're going to have Greg Van Workum in just a couple days before the election. We'll be talking more about the election itself, the Michigan primary. But Michigan has, I would say, one of the better setups in terms of confirming that we have the qualified people able to vote in our elections. But you still have the opportunity to cheat. And one of the things that as I've been mentioning to people before was, in our state, you have to produce photo ID in order to vote, unless you don't want to, which is kind of a nifty rule if you're interested in cheating.
Yeah, because I have a bad picture on my license, so I don't really like to show it to a lot of people.
Well, the interesting thing to me is, if you read the law, and I've read it, and I have not used my photo ID to vote in the last 3 or 4 or 5 elections that I voted on, and I would strongly recommend that all of you try this next time around. Just the way the law is written says that if you do not have photo ID on your person, so just leave your wallet or your purse or what have you in the car and go on in and say you don't have it. And they will then produce a little form which attests that you are who you are. And then in Norton Shores, and I'm sure in most of the areas here in Muskegon County, frankly, I do believe our county clerk does an excellent job. But they will then verify that, in my case, Jim Riley is on their rolls, is in fact able to vote, and then they allow me to vote. The problem with this is that we have in the state of Michigan, this kind of nifty, 101.9% of the eligible voters in the state of Michigan are registered to vote. Isn't that ducky?
Wow.
Isn't that nice? I mean, we've outshone.
Well, like, if Sybil lived here, that'd be like 8. So maybe they're counting them all.
Well, and
I don't know, any given day I can be 3 or 4 different people. To get to vote.
There are a few times when I'm glad that we're not national here, because if in fact we were national, I'm sure that someone from the psychiatric world would be lobbying, taking your idea and suggesting that why should someone who has multiple personalities, because they're going to react differently to multiple
Herschel
laws.
Walker. He's good for 4.
Well, many elected officials, I shouldn't say many, but certainly some have been caught doing this in the past. But the realities are that we're going to have tight elections coming up here. And we need, in the state of Michigan, We need, I believe, tighter laws, certainly in the rest of the country. Just be aware, it's sad, but when you do have 102% of the eligible voters registered, there's something wrong, folks. There's only one political party out there that is supporting the change. That's the Republican Party. I'm not crazy about the Republicans, but the Democrats are dyed in the wool saying you are a racist, a poll taxer, if in fact you're going that route. And we'll take a break. Be back shortly with the Renaissance Man Tracy and the Super Oscar.
I knew I had a problem, but I didn't know what to do about it.
I tried counting calories, I took pills, eating, and then more eating.
I really wanted to stop, but nothing could make me stop.
At one point, it was so bad that I just felt like giving up.
I felt so alone.
Like nobody else could possibly understand.
We understand. We're Overeaters Anonymous, and we have helped thousands of people just like you. People who want to stop their compulsive eating and start living a healthy, rewarding life.
Overeaters Anonymous, help me get my life back.
Now I eat in a way that's healthy and good for me.
I never realized what I was missing out on.
With OA, I am living again and loving it.
Start living the life you deserve with help from Overeaters Anonymous. Find us on the web at oa.org.
I can solve difficult problems for a Fortune 500 company.
I can run a successful business.
I can manage your home improvements.
I can publicize your message. I can motivate your audience.
I can put my military experience to work for your company.
I can teach your children. I can boost your bottom line.
I can add value to your workplace.
I could be a loyal and productive employee.
But I can't put my skills to work for your organization
if I'm not given the opportunity. If you don't recognize my talents and ability.
If you don't hire me.
If you don't have an open mind and a workplace that's open to everyone.
If you don't realize that America works best when everybody works.
What can you do?
What can you do?
What can you do?
You can remember that it worked.
It's what people can do.
It's what people can do that matters.
Nearly 50 million Americans have disabilities. Capitalize on their talents with employment practices that benefit everyone. Learn more at whatcanyoudocampaign.org.
News Talk 1090 is the talk of Muskegon.
Well, you dadgum government, you sorry so-and-sos. You got your damn hands in every pocket of my clothes. Well, you dad.
And we are back at EyeOnMuskegon. I am Jim Riley. I'm sitting here with Oscar Osbo and Renaissance Man. I guess we'll dump the Renaissance Man. But Tracy Lorenz.
I'm no longer.
Co-hosting are the Renaissance Man duties. And we are talking about things that are interesting to me in
of course.
Which is, I guess it is my show.
Here.
Perhaps that accounts for
anyway.
Perhaps that accounts for the Arbitron ratings. A couple of other things that popped up here. I believe he's the Secretary of Transportation, Ray LaHood, whose son has got some problems out there in Egypt. But the Transportation Secretary, Ray LaHood, yesterday essentially has agreed with the National Transportation Safety Board that wants to have a nationwide ban in automobiles of all electronic devices. And so keep your eyes and ears open on that one, folks.
Hate to have a pacemaker.
The nannies, pacemakers certainly could be distracting if you're driving.
How does this mine work? It's amazing.
Well, it's frightening on occasion.
It's frightening.
It is frightening. But keep in mind that if you've got a pacemaker, you might be going back to the Conestoga wagon, which, of course, a lot of people would like to see us do.
Clear.
But when you have the federal government, well, remember, this is the same federal government.
Very green.
That has enough money, folks, has extra money to hire workers to check kindergartners' lunch bags from home and empowers them with enough power to say, this isn't good enough. We're going to not only give you something else, but then we're going to send your mom a bill. So,
a kid at my son's school got sent home because he had blue Gatorade.
Seriously?
Not allowed, yeah.
Seriously?
Seriously.
I see you've got some very weird pinky, purple, I guess, reddish.
Vitamin water.
Vitamin water. Well,
it's delicious.
What we keep doing with government is we keep rising up ignoramuses and giving them and empowering them. And is it shocking that they would make ignorant and moronic decisions? No, it is not.
Well, they have to justify their existence, and if you make moronic decisions, it doubles your productivity.
Actually, I see the light. Because, think about it. If you are, in fact, a federal food from Parents Inspector, and you are not finding food that will kill or food that will somehow offend the First Lady's senses, you're not going to get the big bonuses.
Speaking of her, have you seen her do push-ups? Have you seen her on TV where she goes on Ellen and all those shows, and she shows them how to do push-ups? That lady can't do a push-up. She just has like this little arm flex. And everybody's raving about her athletic ability. I'm like, those aren't push-ups. She doesn't even get to parallel, let alone pass parallel.
They rave about her fashion sense also. So I think we can throw those all in the same basket.
No one ever raves about her nose job.
Did she have a nose job?
Oh, yeah. Look at her picture when she, like her high school graduation picture.
Oh, really?
And it's not the same nose.
Well, it's looked like apparently Rick Santorum did not have any nose work, because if you've seen his high school photo, it's quite frightening. And as he grew up, it became the same head. All right, moving on. Monday is President's Day.
Okay, Brad Pitt.
Monday is President's Day. This coming tomorrow, as a matter of fact. What I do find interesting, and I'm not, I guess I won't even comment per se on it, but most of the offices in Muskegon County are going to be open. To me, that's shocking. I know schools are closed. I believe the federal offices like post office and things will be closed. But most of the cities and townships and the county building itself will be open, with the exception of the marvelously well-run Muskegon Heights, who has deemed that they're so efficient that they can let their employees off. This is part of their original, union contracts and such on President's Day. So those of you who applaud efficiency, those of you who once again are looking for reasons to pour money into the city of Muskegon Heights, you might want to give them a call. I couldn't call them on Monday. I'd have to call them on Tuesday and say, hey, you guys go. Great job closing down on President's Day. As a matter of fact, I'm sure there'll be lots of reenactments and the research and studies and all that in honor of the various presidents of the past. Hey,
what about homeschoolers?
The homeschoolers,
do they get the day off?
I've got two fabulous young guys that do some work for me in the spring, and I'm hoping you're listening, gentlemen, so that you can work for me come in spring here. They are homeschooled, and they essentially get the same days off that others do. Now, whether they're on the Muskegon Heights schedule or Mona Shores or whatever, I don't know. But
that would cure the Heights problems if they just convinced all the parents to homeschool. It'd be done.
Well, we're going to do a show on that. And it's such a horribly sad situation. I was at a fundraising event for a local politician yesterday, and Dave Sipka, who is the superintendent of MAISD, MAISD, anyway, the Muskegon Intermediate System, which is now taken over the Heights, and he said something to the effect that we will be able to save the Muskegon Heights school system, as if that was a positive event. And I really thought, I wasn't going to say it. It was a large group, and everybody swooned and thought how wonderful that was. But I truly, I don't believe that saving the Heights system should be not even in the top 50 of things that ought to be done. What ought to be interesting, and the focus is to get these young children an education. And I think saving the Heights is just another way to make certain people say, oh, we've saved the Heights, and frankly, pardon the French on a Sunday morning, but screw the kids and their parents. So that's...
So if you did teach them to homeschool, the economy would be helped because the sales of denim skirts and Birkenstocks would go through the roof. Because all homeschool mothers are like their uniform.
Well, I'll tell you this. They'd be able to buy those Birkenstocks and denim skirts if they had the kind of money that is being poured on the students of Muskegon Heights. I don't know if I've got it right in front of me.
We will on the students.
We'll attend it to. Well, it's not being poured on the students. No, it's being poured on the administrators and the employees. But we will attend to that in just a sec when we get a little more local here. But hey, how about those General Motors hourly workers receiving $7,000 profit sharing checks in a few weeks? And of course, every article I've read about this, it focuses on how nifty that is. You know, it's a government company now. So it used to be General Motors. I remember when they first made their first $1 billion profit, all the media used the term unconscionable profits. I'd not heard the word unconscionable. But this is
not
decades
next to
ago.
profits anyway.
And of course, during the years with no profits, it was good news. But now they've made multiple billions of dollars, which is good. I'm glad they're surviving. And I really have no problem with the workers getting the $7,000 in bonus checks. But the taxpayer, that's the rest of us here, and actually it isn't even us, it's the kids and the unborn kids, are still $38 billion in the hole, notwithstanding the lies that the chairman of the General Motors had publicly said on multiple taxpayer-paid ads on television. But there's still $38 billion of American tax dollars or American borrowing that is yet to be paid back. So it's an interesting world we live in. You know.
Yeah, give the bonuses before you pay it back. That's not a bad gig.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a couple other hot things. Oh, great! This is another. The President of the United States promised significant change you can believe in. For the first time ever, for women under 30, which accounts for about 60% of all births. You know, not a surprise. For the first time ever, more than 50% of the births of women under 30 occur to single mothers. So that's something I'm sure we can all be proud of. Certainly, we've been subsidizing it and encouraging it. Go alcohol. I suspect there's other things too.
50%. You know,
over 50%.
Over 50%. You wouldn't think 50% would be good enough looking to. But that's one of the things that bothers me about our new society. Grand Haven
alcohol helps with that one. So
yes, it does.
Well, Grand Haven yearbook now has a section in the back that says "Future Buccaneers," and it's pictures of all the babies born to the students that year.
In the yearbook.
In the yearbook.
In Grand Haven.
Future Buccaneers.
One of the finer school systems in West Michigan.
Yeah.
Wow.
Future Buccaneers.
I saw that and I was like, where's the shame?
Well, those are the folks who are making the decisions. Therein lies, I think, the ultimate problem with the education system, the public education system, is that the people who are making decisions like that. I know that Roger Miller would be unhappy with that kind of a decision, and he'd be unhappy with hands in pockets, but we'll listen to him, and we will be back.
Oh, don't you love me sometime?
Sirens, jet engines, car horns, leaf blowers. Today's world puts our sense of hearing on overload. Luckily, there are places we can go to refocus our senses. Our national wildlife refuges. It's amazing how much more you'll hear when you just take a minute to listen. Like a stirring chorus of songbirds warbling in the treetops. Or the industrious beaver slapping its tail in the mountain pond over baritone bullfrogs. Or the pulsating beat of a pileated woodpecker looking for a meal. When you hear these things, you're hearing the world the way we found it. With over 500 refuges across America, you don't have to go far to make a special connection with nature. Learn more at fws.gov/refuges. That's fws.gov/refuges.
If you love food and your heart, go grocery shopping with me, Mon, short for mono unsaturated fat.
And me, polyunsaturated.
We're the Better Fat Sisters. Over here in the cooking oil aisle, choose canola, olive, and other vegetable oils. Liquids are better for your heart than solid fats.
You'll also find us in fresh foods like avocados, nuts, and fish.
Before you put any baked goods, packaged, and prepared foods in your cart, read the labels.
Avoid our bad fats brothers, saturated and trans. They love to clog your arteries.
We're heart healthier, but let's face it, we're fats.
We all have the same 9 calories per gram, so watch your portions.
And thanks for shopping with us.
The Better Fat Sisters. Be kinder to your heart. Learn more and get recipes at heart.org/facethefats. Nationally sponsored by Canola Info.
The Talk of Muskegon is News Talk 1090 WKBZ Muskegon and heard 24 hours a day on WOOD HD2 Muskegon.
Don't miss. The following is a special savings alert. It's an inventory reduction bonanza at Great Lakes Ford Lincoln in Muskegon. Check out these deals. Bring in $79 cash, pick out the vehicle you want, and be prepared for immediate delivery. We want your trade, regardless of what you owe, even if you're upside down. And we have cars and trucks for every budget. Cars starting at $900, or choose payments as low as $99 a month. Due to a high demand for quality used cars to sell, we're willing to pay huge money for your trade-in. You can expect up to 20% over Kelley Blue Book trade-in value at Great Lakes Ford. Call 231-777-2750. Plus, a huge surplus of new inventory means the best deals in 10 years. New Ford Fiestas, 15 in stock, up to 40 miles per gallon, and prices starting at just $13,500. Or save up to $8,000 on new F-150s. It's an inventory reduction bonanza. But when it's over, it's over. At Great Lakes Ford Lincoln in Muskegon.
Certain restrictions apply. New cars plus tax, stock, destination, title, and plates. See dealer for details.
Fox News Radio. I'm Chris Foster. A private burial for Whitney Houston today in a plot next to her father in Westfield, New Jersey. A few miles from the church in Newark where the singer was remembered at a service yesterday. Her co-star in the movie The Bodyguard, Kevin Costner.
Off you go, Whitney. Off you go. Escorted by an army of angels to your heavenly Father.
Fans were kept a few blocks away. A lot showed up anyway, setting up a shrine on a street corner. Iran is cutting off oil shipments to England and France, pushing back against pressure over its nuclear program. President Obama's national security advisor Tom Donilon's in Israel for talks on that. The European Union voted to boycott Iranian oil starting in July. A bus full of British tourists went off the road in northern France. At least one person's dead. This was a ski trip from a school in Worcester, England.
There were 2 coachloads of children on this trip, and that second coach has just arrived back. Now, that one was carrying the boys who are on the trip, many of them in tears as they're greeted by their parents. Clearly incredibly traumatic for them. Now, the coach that crashed in northern France in the small hours of this morning was the one carrying the girls who were on this trip. Now, there were 29 of those school children on the coach. There was also 21 adults, 6 of whom were ski instructors and 13 of whom were staff or parents from this school.
Sky News correspondent Betsy Johnson at that school. The one person confirmed dead's an adult with one teenager in critical condition. Elizabeth Smart is married. She spent 9 months held captive in 2002. She's 24 years old now, a senior at Brigham Young University. The wedding was in Hawaii. Her husband is Matthew Gilmore from Scotland. They met doing Mormon missionary work in France. They got engaged last month and decided to move up the ceremony to avoid public attention. You're listening to Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
Here's the official News Talk 1090 WKBZ forecast for today. Sunshine and clouds together with a high of 36. Northeast winds 5 to 10. Some clouds early tonight, then becoming mostly clear overnight, a low of 26 with light and variable winds. Tomorrow, partly cloudy skies at a high of 39. Southeast winds 10 to 15. Then it looks like rain and snow showers for Tuesday with a high of 39. And more of that on Wednesday and a high of 41. Keeping you informed, this is News Talk 1090 WKBZ, the talk of Muskegon.
This is Mike McCready, Pearl Jam's lead guitarist. For the last 24 years, I've been living with Crohn's disease, a chronic and often painful digestive disease. Luckily, I have my disease under control. But so many of the 1.4 million Americans living with Crohn's and a similar disease called ulcerative colitis live day to day not knowing when their disease will strike next. You can help by joining one of the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation's 130 Take Steps walks. Sign up today at cctakesteps.org. Take a step, register today.
Easy. Well,
you dadgum government, you sorry so-and-sos. You got your damn hands in every pocket of my clothes. Well, you dad.
Okay, we are back at EyeOnMuskegon. Jim Riley, Oscar Osbo, and an import from south of the border, Tracy Loren.
I try to keep a drawbridge between me and the people of Muskegon that I write about.
Well,
it's a good move.
Anyone who's been on,
I can push and the bridge goes up.
Anyone who's been on the M Live Muskegon forum knows that Tracy has a fair amount of supporters and followers, and he also has a few that are a little less so enticed by his commentary.
Yeah. I see one Army crawling outside right now in camouflage with a sniper rifle.
We have asked for curtains here.
Yeah, well, there's some we could draw on, probably.
Well, we are talking about things that interest Jim Riley, and of course that's where we ought to be this morning.
Should be called All About Jim.
Just
yeah.
maybe we ought not to do that. But a few other things, though, I think are just worth noting. We all, anybody who's got a vehicle knows that the gasoline prices are at record highs. As a matter of fact, they are very specifically at record highs for this time of year. Gasoline prices have never been so high. And it's funny, remember under Bush, the last few years of the Bush regime, if you will, and when
the cronies,
the crony capitalism of the Bushes, but there was countdowns, and there was never-ending talk about high gas prices and things of that sort. And I specifically looked at the opening news this morning at 7 and 8 o'clock, and again, no mention of it whatsoever. It's apparently it only high gas prices don't bother you unless there's a Republican.
I think it's just people are getting tired of it. I mean, why complain? It doesn't seem to do any good. No. I was excited yesterday. I was ecstatic because at 8:30 or whatever I was driving, and I saw 318. It was like, wow.
Wow. Now it's up to 349.
Yeah, now it's up to 349.
Well, I was in Florida last week, and everything was over 370 down there. So,
well, Michigan has the second highest, interestingly, the second highest state gas tax in the country. And the governor, with support from a fair number of Republicans and Democrats in the state, has put forth a plan to increase that state sales tax for next year. So if you like those high taxes, doesn't bother you, they're coming at you, baby.
The gas prices, what really gets under my skin is that 9/10 of a cent. Can't we get rid of that 9/10 of a cent? I can see back when, 50 years ago when gas was 17 cents, that 9/10 was a big percentage. They just sort of slipped it in there. But right now it's just kind of annoying.
Yeah, they're trying to make different gas pumps now. Remember when the gas went up over $1, they had to change out the gas pumps. Wouldn't go higher than $1.
I used to be able to fill my Vega for $5 and get change back.
Well, wait a sec, guys. Now you got me thinking here. Think about the potential, because we have a math problem in educating our children about math, and decimals, of course, is a major portion of math. Why don't we pass a law that has gas priced in, let's say, 3 extra decimal points? That way, when you're waiting for your tank to fill up, you can see all sorts of little decimal points popping up.
There should be decimal points, not fractions.
That's right. Yeah, they could do fractions and require that you do the math before you pay. And that probably won't happen. Real unemployment, highest. The longest stretch of unemployment since the Depression. So again, there's that change we'd all hope for.
What would you say we would do, though, if we wanted to change the gas prices? What should we do? Who should we yell at? Who should we scream to?
Oh, I would scream at. Well, maybe a better way of answering that is, because both Republicans and Democrats have had their problems on this. But if you want lower gas prices, you have more gasoline, more oil. You have the refinery. You allow more refineries to be built or expanded in the United States, and you have more gasoline or more oil available. Of course, we have the Keystone Pipeline that's been stopped by the president. Which would give us, from what I have read, half of the oil that we get from the Persian Gulf could be replaced. 1/2 of the oil that we get from the Persian Gulf could be replaced by Canadian oil coming from the oil sands up in Alberta and Saskatchewan.
Those Canadians get pretty upset once in a while, though. I don't know if we could.
Well, no, they're upset enough now. You know what they're doing with it? They're going to sell it to China.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd imagine.
Instead of us.
The Canadians are going to sell to China?
But still, what do you do? I mean, because like I say, that's what I'm saying. People are just getting tired of complaining because it hasn't done any good anyway.
Well, people are one thing, and you're right about that, because you know that you just, unless you're going to raise some heck, nothing's going to happen. It seems to me that if the people really do care about gasoline prices and they want to do something and not be hamstrung, pick up the phone and start screaming bloody murder. In our case, you have Debbie Stabenow, who's running for re-election, and say, Debbie, we want this oil from Canada. That's going to help. That will help. You talk about shovel-ready jobs, too. 20,000 jobs instantly. I mean, there's any number of reasons why this is a good idea. And one of the things that George Bush proved, he's maybe not the greatest president in the world, but one of the things that George Bush proved back when he was president
he could be president. Yeah, I know.
was when he expanded significantly. I believe it was he expanded Anwar before it got stopped. But when he expanded, when he let the world know we are expanding our oil reserves, worldwide oil prices came down, even though there was no net new oil in the pipelines. Right. So
he just said it. The price came down just because he said we're going to do it.
Yeah, he just said it, and it worked. So that our president is current
president.
It's
not controlled by Wall Street anyway, as far as the pricing goes, isn't it?
No.
It's not?
No, it's a commodity. Truly, there's plenty of reasons not to like Wall Street. Plenty of reasons. Yeah. But oil is a commodity. Its price is going to go up and down based on supply and demand. And, well, in our case, what we do know that the federal government taxes a gallon of gasoline, just the federal government now, far more. I think it's 3 times the profit that ExxonMobil makes on that same gallon. So one of the reasons that we have high gasoline prices and others is because of all the taxes and the fees and the other environmental things that are put on it.
You know what I've never understood about gas and oil? This is very off topic. But they say it's dinosaurs and all that stuff. But if you go and bury a lizard and then there's not like a little puddle of oil there later on, I still don't understand how the dinosaurs turned into oil.
The lizards turn into diamonds. Isn't that how it works? No. Or did I get that wrong? I thought they squished the little lizards, and that's how you got diamonds. Yeah.
Oh, that was coal. Well, anyway.
Well, oil, I would just say this, just for talking about it. The fossil fuels, I very strongly believe, we know that they're going to run out at some point. It's not infinite. But they are the bridge to the next technology that will provide the energy that is necessary. Now, there's little question that windmills are not that technology. Maybe someday it will be, but very unlikely just because
Maybe we can actually put lizards in our gas tank.
Well, you got that little lizard selling auto insurance, so why not put a little sucker in your tank? But but there are other ways with the internal combustion engine. I mean, we know that there's even the county, Muskegon County, is working with natural gas buses and things of that sort. But we don't right now. We are stuck with a fossil fuel mix that provides the energy for the world that works, and it's very, very inexpensive. And it is the bridge to whatever that next technology is. And I know that solar panels, for instance, which there's a term, I don't recall what the term is, but there's a measure of how much energy you can get, let's say, from a square foot of a solar panel. And the amount of energy that you can get from the solar panels has been increasing because of technology, and now we have nanotechnology coming out. And that amount of energy has been increasing massively over the years, and we are not that far from maybe solar power being available. I know there's enormous amounts of research being done in the battery area. Really, batteries is the wrong term, but it's energy storage. Batteries, I think, may have maxed out just because of the chemical nature of batteries. But if we could store the power from even windmills, but
that's the key. You got to be able to store it.
Well, and frankly, think of if you could even store it from the fossil fuel plants. But we're not there yet. We will be.
Well, ethanol too. Who came up with bringing that back? I mean, it didn't work in the 70s. Why did they bring it back?
Agribusiness.
Yeah.
Archer Daniels Midland, the huge. It's another big monster boondoggle. And again, that's all well and good if it makes you feel good. But the reality is, it ought to make you feel poor. Right. And as long as the media is going to ignore that and let you think that clean air is wonderful. We had a gentleman who made a presentation to Muskegon Community College this past week. Who was talking about the inevitability. Now, think about this. This gentleman A nice-looking classic college professor, early 50s, tall, slender, articulate, nice mustache.
Something like a little thing.
I know, that's what I was going to say.
Well, he was right out of Central.
Share a wine spritzer with him or anything?
Right. This is a very rough crowd here. Right out of Central Casting of the Birkenstock-clad, albeit without the Birkenstocks, Professor Emeritus at University of Arizona, very highly respected, well-respected environmental university, too, because they do all sorts of stuff that others don't. And he made a presentation at the behest of the leaders, they're the good folks over at Muskegon Community College, that essentially said because of the shortage of fossil fuels, that we were going to, possibly within 1 year, we were going to see a worldwide collapse of all the worldwide economies, and that the only hope for us was to go back and start little gardens in your backyard, because all governments would fail, all the environment. Actually, he said this with a bit of glee, that in fact that the environment would be able to come back. He was spouting the 200 species are killed every day by humans. He was quite contemptuous, and a friend of mine.
And yet Rosie O'Donnell lives. And
Rosie, well, and think about Rosie working in her garden, in her own little tiny little plot, sitting next to maybe some Tea Party folks, but there was tremendous enthusiasm for this. And there are folks out there who are real happy to see, or at least to dream about the collapse of our society. But he was suggesting that
they would be for about a week until they ran out of food. And if you're living in Arizona, unless you're that guy in Dual Survivors that doesn't wear shoes, you're at lunch. Yeah. What are you going to do?
He didn't seem to think he was. Now, the question was not asked, but someone asked me after the fact. I'm assuming he's taking his Conestoga back to Arizona, or perhaps he's Al Goring it, on a private jet. I've always felt, if in fact we do have the collapse of the United States society, there's no need whatsoever to store, cases of Spam and noodles or whatever, whatever you would eat. Just make sure that you're packing. Go to your neighbors who got the sign outside, I don't like guns, and take their stuff. That way they can do the storage.
That's my plan.
Yeah, I think it's the plan of a lot of folks.
Give me your ramen noodles.
Yeah.
Hey, one thing I wanted to touch base on.
Not chicken.
Well, we're not going to take their stuff, not this week anyway. No. A clarification. We talked last week about the Muskegon County Board of Commissioners who had been doing this kind of flip-floppy thing when they request bids for products. No, Tracy Lorenz and flip-flops. It could be back, folks.
Follow me.
We ought to actually put a link on EyeOnMuskegon to the various Tracy Lorenz flip-flop columns over the years.
Yeah.
But this is a different type of flip-flop. They needed to buy some vehicles, some trucks or something along those lines, and they sent out requests for bids. And instead of taking the lowest bid, which was the voted on and stated policy, every commissioner, with the exception of Commissioner Alan Jagger, voted to violate that policy. This was the Public Works Board, by the way, and in fact buy locally, at least on one or some of these various choices. Now, we talked about it last week. It's a stupid policy to. I believe it's a very foolish policy to set a policy and then violate it purely for the local impact that you're going to get. But one of the county commissioners said something that really struck me, and this is from the MLive article. County Commissioner Scott Plummer said, quote, he prefers that the county look at bids on a case-by-case basis, not a specific policy for local preference, which at first glance doesn't seem unreasonable, except if you are going to send out bids and companies are going to take the time and effort, and it does cost money, to put together a bid, but you're not going to know what the policy is. They're going to look at it when they sit at home and take a last-minute look. We're not going to get any out of the county bids anymore. And, of course, people do know what PMS is. It's a premenstrual syndrome. Well, our politicians here in Muskegon for sure have OPMS, which is other people's money syndrome. And the OPMS is sickening and expensive, and I think far more annoying to the. We're not the spouses of these people, but we are suffering from their OPMS all the time.
He's not jumping in on that one. I
know.
I was waiting.
You don't have to be this old by jumping in on PMS comments.
One final one. And we got to get to the major points. But Art Cashin, who those of you who watch CNBC, is UBS, been on television for years, one of the Wall Street guys. But he had a very interesting question. He said, with all of these unemployed people that we've had in the United States, which is huge, I mean, we've never had this number, we've never had this percentage going back to the Depression. The question is, where do they all get their health care? And it turns out that it's projected nearly 25% of those who are not actively working any longer, not actively seeking a job, have been accepted already on disability by Social Security. So, in fact, it's good for the federal government in the sense that they say, they're not looking for work anymore. Now they're on Social Security disability, folks. More taking, no more producing. It's pretty sad.
Half of them are single and pregnant.
Single, pregnant, under 30.
And on disability.
Is this a direction we're on our way to? You bet it is, folks. Roger Miller, with fearing the hand in his pocket, is going to see a lot more bad stuff down the road. We'll be right back.
Is he still alive?
Have you resolved to save more money this year but haven't figured out how? Let Service One Federal Credit Union help. Right now, transfer a balance from your current credit card to a Service One Visa and receive a special rate. Cross one more resolution off your list today by stopping in at 1075 East Sherman Boulevard or at 1625 East Wind Drive just south of the Lakes Mall. Service One FCU is federally insured by the NCUA. Rates and terms are subject to change without notice.
Mike Rowe here with Jim Twitchell, Senior Master Technician for Ford. Jim, a lot of people hear about the works and they figure it's an oil change.
No, Mike, it's not just an oil change.
The works includes an oil change, tire rotation, multi-point inspection, and more. Just $29.95 or less after $10 rebate. Click on the banner now.
What doesn't it include?
That list is probably very short.
Glove compartment, you check that?
Up to 5 quarts oil, taxes, diesel, and disposal fees extra. See participating Ford dealer or visit FordOwner.com for rebate details through 3/31/12.
I shoved the envelope under my sweater and sneaked to the kitchen. Mom was on the phone in the front room. I didn't want to have to explain anything. I just wanted to be by myself. Clutching the envelope tightly, I stepped onto the ladder at the bottom of the treehouse. Something caught my eye above me, and I looked up. Light! It looked as if there were a firework display going on inside the treehouse. Crackling and snapping and whizzing sounds spun around above my head. Light shot out in sparks, dancing to the popping of noise. My first thought was to scream fire and run to the house to get Mom. My legs trembled as I inched upward, creeping up the rungs as quietly as I could. My heart banged so hard that it felt as if someone were hitting my chest. A couple more steps, and then I leaned forward, craning my neck to look inside. And then I looked up and saw... To find out what happens next, read Philippa Fisher's Fairy Godsister by Liz Kessler. Explore new worlds and check out more cool books at your local library. And visit read.gov. Brought to you by the Library of Congress and the Ad Council.
News Talk 1090 is the talk of Muskegon.
Well, you dadgum government, you sorry so-and-sos. You got your damn hands in every pocket of my clothes. Well, you dad...
And we are back. Sunday morning, EyeOnMuskegon, Jim Riley, Oscar Oswald, and Tracy Lorenz. The grand dancer, Tracy Lorenz. I keep wanting to get to my main points, but Tracy just brought up the fact that he will be one of the danseuses of Muskegon's Dancing with the Local Stars. And even though he is from south of the border, apparently they consider you local.
I'm still local.
And
my heart is here.
And I understand that you are absolutely having a synergy at the highest level with your dancing partner, but perhaps you want to extrapolate a little bit about that.
Yes, there's apparently she expected someone with some talent. I threw her a curveball.
Well, you are a loser.
There's always a tension, I guess, when you have creative differences. So it hasn't been going the best, but by Thursday, we'll be rock solid.
Well, I understand.
I'll be Danny Terrio.
I understand that you, the cool thing is, and you're making it a little more challenging, so it gives other folks a chance. Is that you haven't completed the dance yet, which is kind of neat.
No, I'm calling it the Dance of 1,000 Sorrows. Because that's about where I am right now. No, we haven't actually made it all the way through one time yet, but so there may be some improvising. The thing is, because I'm the male, I will be leading this dance, which is a combination of the foxtrot and the swing. So the way I figure it, whatever I do, she's got to do it too. So if I go off script and just start making circles, she's got to follow me.
I know in my case, when Honey Bunch and I are dancing, I always let her lead, unless I'm drunk enough, and then I kind of drift off into the swim or something, which is usually pretty awful.
The gator, the worm.
Well, I haven't done the gator yet. Well, I have, but not on purpose. Well, good. We're looking forward to seeing you totally humiliate yourself.
Does that continue to like the regular Dancing with the Stars? I mean, do you eliminate it and all that stuff and keep going, or?
Yeah, how does it work? We're going to go on Friday.
They actually take you out back and shoot you. So you have no chance of returning.
Lame horses.
Yeah.
I like that. That's
yeah,
good.
but I'm sorry, but get a big hook and yank you off. No, they vote every night. I think there's 3 possible ways you can win, which would be 9 possible ways to lose. But one is the most money raised, one is the judge's decision, and one is by the people in the crowd.
Okay, and there's one winner, one couple wins. Is that how it works?
On a nightly basis, I think. So it could rotate around. You know, Thursday someone could win that doesn't win on Saturday or whatever. But
okay,
I have not cleared a space on my trophy shelf for any upcoming dancing trophies.
Well, we will be there, oohing and eyeing and scoping out your brilliant foxtrotty.
Just make sure the tomatoes are extra ripe, because I don't want to be green and hard when they strike me.
There we go. We don't want you to be green and hard at all.
It's going to be ugly.
We last I heard, there were tickets available for this. Friday, Saturday was sold out, but I believe that Thursday did have some tickets available. I've never been before. I'm really looking forward to it. Should be fun. All right, let's get to the gritty thing here. A couple things came up last week. The county administrator, Muskegon County administrator, said that she dislikes the governor's incentive-based proposal for providing revenue-sharing money to counties, and what she doesn't like about it is that it requires the government to set up some incentives, which he calls, and I would fully agree, are best practice categories such as accountability and transparency, consolidation of services, and employee compensation reforms, and our county administrator, the person who really does run the county, says she dislikes the incentive-based system because possibly they will not receive as much money, and essentially that's her argument, at least according to the
It's a solid argument.
Well, according to the Muskegon Chronicle, and we do know that it wasn't that long ago that the county administrator or the county commissioners, every single one of them, by the way, violated every one of their procedures and policies. They didn't have a committee meeting. They didn't publish any of the information. They just came into a meeting and voted for 7 union contracts that all violated the best practices of the governor. And as a matter of fact, they did this back in October, and none of those contracts at least were posted as of a couple weeks ago. So I can certainly understand this. What bothers me and saddens me is that the writer of the article made no mention of the fact of the violations that have happened. And if you read the article, you almost kind of get the idea that, oh, poor Muskegon, we're going to get screwed again, because the forces of evil are arrayed against us, and the moon and the sun and Uranus are all in order, and therefore we're going to get kicked in the wazoo.
It's like the third Uranus mentioned today.
I know. Well, it's a planet, guys. As a matter of fact, it's my understanding that it's the farthest out planet, isn't it? Or is perhaps Neptune, since they took Pluto away.
Yeah, Pluto got screwed.
Which is a slap, I guess, at Disney World. But anyway, in the context of the county executive sphere, which I suspect is shared by most of the county commissioners. And one thing I do want to touch base on when I say most of the county commissioners, we have 11 county commissioners. One of them is a brandy new guy. Well, some of them are new, but one of them is a brandy new guy, a Republican, Alan Jagger, and he tends to vote against the group quite often, in particular when it comes to spending and new employees. But if you go back to those county commissioners who have been county commissioners for any length of time, and that would be the 3 Republicans, John Snyder, Bob Skolnick, Marv Engel, Jim Derazinski is a Democrat, Ken Mahoney, there's a few others. They vote identically to each other on almost every single vote they take. They vote identically to each other on every single 100% of the votes for the union contracts, which accounts for about 80% of all of the spending in the county. And they vote almost 100%, and I mean 99.999% of the time, when it comes to any other kind of spending. So in Muskegon County, the difference between Republican and Democrat is essentially non-existent. And therein lies the wondrousness for a county executive who says, I want to spend, I want to expand, because not only do you have everybody voting for you, of course the Democrats have enough votes at the county board that they could win every vote, but the nice thing is that the Republicans vote with them so that everybody talks about harmony and there's no contentiousness going on. And I know Tracy's getting ready to jump in here. Well, there we go. That was great, Tracy. Okay.
You've got to take a breath before I can jump in. Well, I hate to interrupt. I'm quite polite.
What you need is the eye contact. When you need the eye contact, and one of these, could give the funny look. Well, the reason I started off that way is because our county commissioners, just last week, with the sole exception again of County Commissioner Alan Jagger, voted to go ahead to get.
He votes with on the same block as Keith Richards, by the way. Jagger does.
Oh, the Jagger-Richards connection. Yes.
Throw that in there.
It did take
me
get
that
a long
look
time
on camera.
To get
that was my goal.
We've got it. Well, it did take me a long time to figure out how to, or not to.
Can I get a screensaver out of that?
Yeah, right there you go.
We'll do a snap. Can you cut that out?
Yeah.
There we go. I'll put that on when I upload the show. But if there is ever a poster event for what's wrong with this country, the federal government is broke. And Muskegon County has a transportation department, which I did an entire show on not long ago. And I think that it's a service that we need here in Muskegon, and we don't want to spend it further into bankruptcy. It's anywhere between $600,000 and $1 million a year of your tax dollars, local funding that goes in just to keep this afloat. And now they're looking to expand it. But there's apparently federal government has got tons of money out there, $1.3 million for 3 more buses that apparently would be necessary to expand the
bus routes. Why do they buy such big buses?
Yeah, they're so huge.
Yeah, it's like Journey's on tour.
That question has been That question has been asked, and the answer is that's what they're given. Okay, that's what's free. And if you are of the mindset that free is good, then you don't ask about big buses. You might ask, why aren't they bigger? But nobody seems concerned. Nobody seems even to consider the fact that we might be able to accomplish what they're talking about.
I actually saw
with smaller buses.
The 2 bus riders, because my office used to be on Laketon or over by Laketon, playing tennis in a bus.
Playing tennis in a bus?
Because it was so huge. They just put a net down the middle. And because what I used to do, because the buses would stop right there and I'd watch, and there'd be 2 people, maybe 3 people in there on a daily basis. And I just thought, okay, say that bus costs $250,000 a year. Make it $300,000 for the bus and everything else. And you've got 3 riders. You can give each rider a $100,000 car and break even. Why not just find the riders, give me a $15,000 car, and pocket the difference?
Well,
you'd be way ahead, because I actually wrote a column about this a few years ago, and I called the city, and they were telling me how many people rode the buses and all that. And I said, we had 7,000 riders last year, and I said, well, that's just, 7 riders that rode it 1,000 times. There weren't 7,000 different people riding those buses.
Well, you're 100% right. As a matter of fact, when I did my writing, I very carefully...
Can I get a screen snap of that, too, though? Yeah. You're 100% right.
Well, absolutely. Well, you can actually go to EyeOnMuskegon.com
put it on a loop.
Get your entire deal.
There, yeah.
But
audio clip.
Take a drop.
We just came back from skiing in Colorado, and where we skied, we took buses from the condo to the ski resort. And that's a big deal, of course, because they're moving lots and lots of folks who don't have any vehicles. And every time we got on a bus, and sometimes we would take it from Snowmass all the way down into Aspen, Colorado, which was, I don't know, maybe about an 8-mile ride or so. Every time we got on a bus, the bus driver was there with a clipboard, and he was checking out how many people came on. When I did my week of driving the riding around in the bus.
The Muskegon transit system?
Never once saw anybody making any mention.
That's because he knows them by name.
Well, when I paid,
three of them.
When I paid, I was the only one in the span. I think I rode the bus for 3 days, and then plus when I had my hospital procedure, I also took the bus. I'm the only person I ever saw put money into the little till. Everybody else had passes, and what they do in Colorado, and I've mentioned this on air before, but I think it's important. Let's just say you really cared about providing a service as opposed to just hiring more county employees. And that's, frankly, what I believe this is all about. But let's say you really cared about providing a service from Whitehall, someplace in Whitehall, Montague, down to Muskegon. You could perhaps talk about a smaller vehicle. You could perhaps talk about subsidizing, which is what they do in Colorado, subsidizing the cab companies to say, wait a minute, we can't really afford to send a big bus up on the mountain to pick people up here, but we will subsidize a cab company so that the person pays $1 each way, and then the city picks up the difference. Now, you're doing wonderful things there because the cab company employs people. It pays a tax on their profits, and you're providing the service.
In Grand Haven, I hate to bring up Grand Haven again, but we have buses there, and they come right to your house. You call them up and say, because I locked my keys in my car once, and I had to walk home, and I thought I'd take the bus back because they don't have cabs in Grand Haven. So I called the bus company and asked where the nearest place was, and they said, what's your address? Let's pick you up. I drove over, picked me up, gave them 75 cents. They drove me to my car.
Well, and again, I think...
And they're little bitty buses.
You could argue that that's a good idea, it's a bad idea, but here's the problem that I have with the Muskegon County Commissioners and in particular with the county administrator on this particular issue, and that is that when they made the decision, and they didn't, by the way, decide to go ahead on this, they just decided to apply for the grant. But I asked before they made a vote, I got up as a public citizen and I said, please tell me that you've done your homework here, that you've looked at private-public partnerships, you've got studies that prove that there is in fact a demand, and in fact you've done a cost study to find out if you were to get the grant, what it's going to cost, because the grant is only for the buses themselves. It doesn't include the employees and the maintenance and the gas and all the rest of the kind of stuff that's involved, insurance and all that. And I was told at that meeting, and I posted it on the blog, EyeOnMuskegon.com. If you want to see it, it's the Muskegon County Transportation meeting. The response was, well, no, we haven't done that, but we will if we get the grant. Now, okay, maybe.
Well, show you what's in the bill once you pass it.
Well, exactly. Well, but the interesting thing is, and I fully believe the reporter for the Chronicle, when he put in his article, Hammersley added that the results from a survey of the Whitehall-Montague area showed demand there. Now, either she pulled that out of thin air.
One person could be demand. It didn't say overwhelming demand.
Well, it said a survey, and then, of course, you hear the county chairman.
A survey of people riding the buses.
Well, exactly. He says, for years in my area, there's been concern about getting people to and from Muskegon. We've been hearing about this. Well, Bob, here's a quote here. We've been hearing about the need for this for quite some time, said County Commissioner Bob Skolnick. So what you have is this anecdotal blah, blah. We've got the federal government that's broke saying, hey, I know you don't need you don't need this, but we got all these. We've got $1.5 million, just to throw at you for buses. And then you've got this mindset that says, not do we need it, not could we do a private-public partnership, not they don't even know what it may cost, even though everybody knows that it's a money-losing system. And at some point, we may grease it. We may go just the way Greece has, run all these buses off a cliff, and then the people who really do need them, and they don't need a gigantic, like you say, Journey or Beach Boys style bus.
Dial 1 to talk to the driver.
Exactly. Well,
just finish the bike path.
Yeah.
And then you just have a bike and a little thing on the back where people ride in the back, and they can pedal their way right over there.
Yeah. And you could maybe get funding from
hook a generator to
Jeremy Lin.
There you go.
Yeah. Can I confess to a crime?
Absolutely, please.
Since I think the statute of limitations is up in this. When I was in school in East Lansing, I rode the bus all the time. The school bus and the city bus, because you had to get to Myers and stuff, So I was a big bus rider, but you had to buy these passes for the buses. I'm a bit of an artist. I don't know if anybody knew that, but so I forged these passes, and stolen with some people and made a pretty good living forging bus passes in East Lansing, Michigan.
Yeah, but you could do
And
that back then. Today, that would be impossible.
I used to forge stamps. I used to forge stamps, too, to mail things. I used to draw stamps.
Stamps? I like that.
I think that was a federal crime.
Yeah, it's federal. I would have mentioned that one.
I'm not sure the statute of limitations expires on that one.
All they got to do is find the stamp.
Well, you bring up a good point, though.
That's true. They've got the proof.
All you do is flash part
they basically changed,
of the past.
You just had to have the color right, basically, and then the rest of it was kind of...
And I asked a fair number of the people, and there were so few people on the bus, it was kind of hard to have any kind of conversation. And by the way, when I did ride the bus,
they were talking to themselves, pretty much.
Well, you
had to slip your voice in amongst their voices.
Well, you know what? I didn't say this when we talked about it before, but I will bring this up. One of the... There's a restaurant that's not far from a bus stop, and I was talking with one of the waitresses there, and she said, "You know what happens, especially when it warms up and throughout the summer, is that a bunch of mentally handicapped folks who have nothing else to do, who have free passes, and this is an issue to me. They get free passes from a variety of organizations. Now, I haven't been able to fully confirm this, but I know many of these organizations get money from the county. So it may be that the county's taking tax dollars, giving it to an organization, which then gives free passes to people and then counts that as revenue, which I suspect is happening. But what these mentally handicapped people do, because they can, it's free, and they have nothing better to do, is they get on the bus at 10 or so.
That's Jim Riley.
Really. I kind of want to jump in, but then I'm kind of... Because, that also...
But it happens, and
it also hurts
that
the other
counts
side.
as ridership.
Plus the air conditioning,
It also hurts the other side, though, too. There's a lot of people in there that are kind of prejudiced against that sort of thing, and they won't ride the bus because of that reason. They're afraid of that. They don't understand the problem, so they won't ride the bus because of.
Well, I must say, during my time riding the bus, I never saw that. Matter of fact, like we're talking about, I very rarely saw other people on the bus. It was an event to have two other people.
Like I said, in Grand Haven, they pick you up and they drop you off where you're going. In Muskegon, I think they pick you up at the bus stop and they drop you off at a bus stop. And no one ever wants to be anywhere near a bus stop. There's not like a business there. I mean, if you're working, you can't take a bus from home to work, generally speaking.
Well, that's therein. We get comments like
I would do it.
This is comment from Mahoney. For years in my area, there's been concern about getting people to and from Muskegon and Skolnick, saying we've been hearing about the need for this for quite some time. Yeah, really. The people who live in Whitehall and Montague, let's say they had two pickups, one in someplace downtown Montague, one in someplace downtown Whitehall. First off, the people they got to get from their houses to the bus, and very few people live, clustered down that. And once they're dropped off here.
They got to get to work, or wherever they're going.
Where are they going to go?
Right.
Yeah. Unless they're within a walking distance. Now, it would work, I would imagine. No, it for sure would work if you had to get to the community college or something. But I will tell you right now, you take the bus from Whitehall to Montague, and of course it likely would stop in some places along the way. But then you have to go to downtown Muskegon, and from there then you take a transfer, unless they, the point is...
You have to leave at 3 in the morning to get...
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if there's demand or not, but I do know this, that our county commissioners are consistent in this, always. They will make decisions without having the information in advance. And they can make those decisions, or the pro-bus people don't need to provide that information because these folks who are spending other people's money don't even give a tootle. So... I'm all exorcised.
Tootle.
They do not give a tootle.
Such words.
Well, it's the OPMS is taking over, folks. We'll be back shortly.
At Home with Gary Sullivan. Greg, welcome.
Last fall, I had a colored and stamped concrete patio put in.
Factory Surplus Sales in Montague has a huge selection of winter apparel. Hats, jackets, mittens, boots, and more. Everything your family needs to keep warm. All at huge savings. Factory Surplus also has everything you hunters need to stay warm in the woods.
Fox News Radio, I'm Liz White. Iran's oil ministry halting oil exports to Britain and France after the EU decided to boycott Iranian oil starting in July. And there's a report Iran's beginning new land military exercises. That's trickling down to your gas pump, where the average price per gallon is $3.53.
With the saber rattling that's going on over there and the fear attacks that exist with suppliers, with traders worrying that there might be some interruption in supply in the future. So we're seeing crude oil bid up.
AAA's Robert Sinclair. Experts say gas prices could hit $4.25 by late April. Flying south for winter, you might find several inches of snow.
We'll be moving across into the Carolinas by this afternoon and evening. So with that colder air coming in from the north and the precipitation increasing, we'll see rain changing over to snow from north to south.
William Perry with the National Weather Service in Blacksburg, Virginia. Fox News, we report, you decide.
Here's the official News Talk 1090 WKBZ forecast for today. Sunshine and clouds together with a high of 36. Northeast winds 5 to 10. Some clouds early tonight, then becoming mostly clear overnight, a low of 26 with light and variable winds. Tomorrow, partly cloudy skies and a high of 39. Southeast winds 10 to 15. Then it looks like rain and snow showers for Tuesday with a high of 39. And more of that on Wednesday and a high of 41. Keeping you informed, this is News Talk 1090 WKBZ, the talk of Muskegon.
Hi, this is Brian Kilmeade, inviting you to listen to Kilmeade and Friends. I break down the biggest stories of the day in the news and tell you what I think. Plus, you get insight and perspective from my Fox friends like Steve Ducey, Gretchen Carlson, Brett Baer, Chris Wallace, Governor Mike Huckabee, Bill Hemmer, Martha McCallum, and people like Geraldo Rivera, only on Kilmeade and Friends.
Catch it weekday mornings from 9 till 11 on News Talk 1090 WKBZ, the talk of Muskegon.
It's still February. My golly, it looks increasingly like spring every day. And I suppose, by definition, it would be increasingly every day look like spring.
Every day's one day closer to April.
There we go.
Getting my car out of storage.
Hey, I guess I've beaten this bus thing to death, and I have no more toodles to push on it. But I would like to reiterate, there are very good arguments against and perhaps even for expansion of the bus system. That's not my complaint. My complaint is purely that our county commissioners are making decisions. They're voting time and again. This is not a one-on item. This is a consistent, almost a daily event for them. They are voting to spend other people's money without having the information that they would demand before spending that kind of money on their own purchases out of their own pockets. And they don't have that information because they don't demand it. So therefore, the people who want to expand this bus thing, be it you're going to go in front of the vice president and say, I'd like to spend a lot of money, you better have a stack of information there that they have read in advance before they're going to talk to you.
But so are they not even trying to make it work, though, like Grand Haven systems work, or like Ludington, or like? Well,
right now, all they've agreed to do is to apply for the $1.3 million. You know, that once they get the grant, then we're promised.
Then we'll figure out what to do.
Then they're going to figure out the demand and the rest of that.
New
kind
laptops.
of stuff.
Can we sell them?
Yeah.
Can we get the free buses and then sell them? And
they make a profit.
Yeah.
The last group that they got a whole bunch of free buses not long ago, and Alan Jagger had the temerity to ask the question, what are we doing with these? And the bus guy, I think it was Coons, but one of the fellows responded, well, we don't really need them. We don't have the drivers for them, so we got them in storage.
Excellent.
So there's your government going, folks, and just be real thrilled that we have this kind of free money. We're going to be expanding the.
Can I throw in another bus story?
Absolutely.
From East Lansing, I was taking the Greyhound bus home once because I used to take the Greyhound.
Take the dog.
Which right behind my apartment. It was another fabulous ride, and it was usually all students, so it's like a big party on there every time you take the bus home. Well, one time there was a mother in front of me with a small child who turned around and sang the Frito Bandito song the entire way from Lansing to Muskegon and never shut up. Frito Bandito, Frito. Yeah, that was my lasting memory. Is how could her mom not say shut up?
One of these
at the top of her voice.
One of these under 30 moms without a hub.
Yeah.
Well, there is a big deal that the left has gone all gooky about lately. Someone wrote an article in the Wall Street Journal a few weeks ago saying that the French are better parents. And I saw that Today Show highlighted this. And it was actually quite a good article. It just talked about, I know, we're not going to go there. I talked about this with other people, but in the United States, And Tracy, you may be guilty of this also. I don't know.
Probably
but we hover over our children, and we listen to them incessantly. And if they have a thought or a need or whatever, they're instantly attended to. And in France, the way the argument was here was that the kids were told, you're at the dinner table, shut up and eat. You're with adults, shut up and whatever. And the sad thing is that these children who are so wonderfully told how their self-esteem is so enormous, and anytime they have a thought that they feel comfortable bringing it up in front of adults or whatever, when they ultimately get out of school, because this is reinforced all the way through public school and typically in college also, when they get their first job, and the boss, says, get here at 8 o'clock
Right.
and do what I say.
They wither.
Well, they don't just wither. What they do is they blossom in one sense. They say, oh, but boss, I had to sleep in, and I got a better idea to do it. And when they get their butts handed to them and they're out there, they don't know what hit them.
Well, I got a better idea. I'm sure that's a big one, too.
Yeah.
That's the way
I can make that work better.
Well, because they've been told.
treat my child like that. I am more like a 50s parent of... I don't let him just do whatever he wants to do. And in fact, my neighbors hate me because I'm the parent who lets him actually go outside without me watching him.
Ooh.
I mean, I know where he is. He's not allowed to leave the street or cross the street or that stuff, and I can see him out the window and stuff, but I'm not out there standing right over him with and a couple times he's ridden his bike without a helmet.
Oh.
Yeah.
Isn't that now? Wait a minute. Why do
Shame
we
on
not?
you.
Why don't we have the helmet Nazis? Why don't we have a whole force of helmet Nazis out there roaming our streets to make sure that our children are safe?
Yeah, well, he's plenty safe. Thing is, he knows how to ride a bike because he has a,
Well, you remember
risking his.
You remember when you were a kid? When you were a kid, how did you just roam the streets pretty much?
Yeah,
I did.
When I was
my mom yelled my name and I heard it and I came home.
And all the other kids were out there to protect you.
Yeah.
I mean, you were protecting little packs.
Right.
When I was in junior high, my friends and I on Saturday mornings quite often would hop the bus. Mom and Dad, somebody would get us. Actually, we probably would hitchhike into downtown Birmingham.
Right. Yeah.
And catch the bus and go into Detroit.
Alabama?
And this is Birmingham, right near Detroit. We'd take the bus right down Woodward into inner city Detroit, go to the whatever the big theater was there back at the time, and spend the entire day in the city. And then
watch a talkie.
They even had a little automat back in those days. We would watch a talkie. Actually, we didn't always watch talkies because they hadn't been invented yet.
Yeah.
You said shadow puppets.
But that today...
You don't mean to laugh. It's funny. I'm sorry.
Well, it would be child abuse today. And perhaps that's why I turned out the way I did. I was an abused child.
I want my kid to have the same childhood I had, which was fabulous. And
same here.
You go out now, and kids don't know how to negotiate. It's all... one kid wants to do one thing, and another kid wants to do another thing, and then they get in a fight, and they both go...
Well, you talked about Detroit area. I was in Mount Clemens area, so that was close,
Sure.
And when I grew up, and we had, the schools were very well mixed as far as, so to me, that was great. Diversity was very, very good, showed you a lot of things about diversity in that type of situation.
We had diversity in North Shores. I had tall kids and short kids and fat kids. Well, I went to Catholic schools my whole life, or private schools, and the kids in my neighborhood, like my 4 best friends, we all went to 4 different schools. So then you not only got all your friends from your neighborhood, you had your school friends too, and then you would have like the subsets of their school friends. So you get to meet a lot more people. But you actually went and hung out. You didn't just...
You just said something that struck me, but the kids didn't know how to negotiate. And that's interesting because we all, you had fights and you got along and you had the angst, all the kid angst, but you interacted with children.
Everybody's a chief now. No one knows how to okay, I want to play baseball. Well, maybe you don't want to play baseball with that kid, but if you play with him, baseball with them, and the next thing you're going to do is maybe something you want to do. So there's a little give and take there. It's just it's gone.
Compromise.
It's so much tougher for kids today. I really do think it is. For a variety of reasons. Well, one thing that and I know young people are not interested in politics.
When's the last time somebody called? Like you go to Jim, like you go to a door, and yell their name out, and they open up and go, "What do you want?" And
they
come on and play.
They text them at the door.
Yeah. When's the last time any kid called?
Text them at the door is exactly what they would do.
When's the last time you heard a parent call for a kid, stick their head out the door and
Which is what they used to do with me. Turn Oscar all the way across the whole neighborhood, and I knew it was time to go home.
Yep. And if you got the second call, you better be moving.
Right.
Well, when's the last time you heard a kid go, wah? Because he didn't heed that second call.
Yeah.
And that wasn't an unusual deal. Hey, I told you to get here. Whop.
That's right.
course, you can't say WAP any longer.
No.
But bash, boom, like the bash.
I tell you what, when I got into a fight in third grade, and the teacher we had a two-story school, the teacher took me downstairs by the hair to the principal's office. You wouldn't see that anymore.
Oh, no.
I didn't give her any flack either.
Yeah,
by the hair, I love
by
that.
the hair, yeah.
I love
by
that.
the hair, took me down the stairs. So
yeah, it's a different world. It's a horribly different world.
There was a teacher
at
North Shores Junior High that, luckily I was good at math, but he had a dirty sweat sock. And he would just point at kids and ask them a math question. If they didn't know it, they had to hold the sock in their mouth until the next kid missed the question.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, they were brutal. I spent 1 year. I went to North Shore Junior High when it was first opened. It was the first year it opened up, and the teachers there was like nom. If they saw a kid chewing gum, it was horrible.
I think that's interesting because we all had memories of that. We had paddling and things of that sort, and a lot of people would look at these stories and say, "Oh my golly, things were terrible back then." But there was one thing that went on back in those days. Number one, we remember
that Jim liked it.
Well, one thing. Well, it kept order, but more importantly, educating was going on.
Right.
A little fear, a little incentive goes a long, long way.
It was the imminent threat.
Exactly.
The imminent threat is gone, and that's where all things fall apart.
Well, the imminent threat that lingers over us, of course, is the end of our time here, and we didn't get a chance, typically, to get to everything. A couple things I did want to touch base. Again, check the news talk1090.com website, and always go, if you can, go to the blog, which is EyeOnMuskegon.com. It's got all the links and everything else, and it's got a lot of the videos, not only of our show, but of county commission meetings and things of that sort.
What about MuskegonComical.com, where you can find my weekly column, MuskegonComical.com.
Oh, very good. Yes, and it's not a joke. It is MuskegonComical.com. Tracy's, and actually, I go there every week. You can sign up. You can sign up and get the email link on it too.
I will do that.
I'll give you 5.
Next Sunday, February 26th.
20% ride.
It's going to be 2 days before the big primary election, guys, and we will have a perfect guest next week, which is Greg Van Workum. Greg is a very smart guy who's also the district director for U.S. Congressman Bill Huizenga. So he doesn't have a horse in this particular race, which is great, so he can be, I think, provide lots of inside information to us. He will be there. Oscar, we talked a little bit about this. We don't have a lot of time, but we are considering having a half-hour local news show, which would be likely on TV WMKG,
right,
on Comcast and Channel 38 on the Rabbit Ears. And if you have any interest in getting involved in a radio show, we need someone for weather, for sport.
So it should be television show.
We need,
okay.
Did I say that?
Yeah.
Be television show. Thank you very much. Somebody to report on it.
We need him. We need
weather and sports.
We might get Tracy involved in this. We need reporters.
I look better on radio, though.
But we are. Well, we will have the little black bar over Tracy's eyes if he's ever on, so that no one will see him.
I've been known to frequent black bars.
But we will. Yes, exactly. We will have the black bars. Will be our big sponsors on the show. But that's a thought coming down the road. We are multimedia. The people have spoken. They demand that we start at 8:30. We are on TV Monday nights. And, folks, thank you for listening in. Please pass the word. We've got to get the word out. As long as the bad guys think they are bulletproof, they will act like they're bulletproof. And, frankly, so far they've been bulletproof. We want to change that. We want to make Muskegon County and the places even down south of us rock and roll. So thank you so much. We'll talk to you next week.
Well, don't you love me sometimes? Yeah, boy. Sometimes.
Don't
Don't miss Benton Chevrolet Cadillac GMC's President's Sale. Hurry, for a limited time, you can buy any new Chevrolet, Cadillac, or GMC for GM preferred pricing for everyone. That's right, GM preferred pricing for everyone. Plus, Benton is paying you over $2,000 over book value for your trade. Drive a new Silverado, GM preferred pricing just $189 a month. Chevy Cruze $99 a month, and Malibu just $148 a month. Get 0% on select models and make no payments till spring. Shop our 20-acre motor mall for the largest selection of pre-owned Chevy Impalas you'll find anywhere. Save up to $10,000 off the price of a new one. The time to buy is now, and the place to save is Benton. GM preferred pricing for everyone, and blowout prices on a large selection of pre-owned Impalas. Only at Benton Chevrolet Cadillac GMC's 20-acre motor mall on Henry Street, Muskegon. The time to buy is now.
Once again, good morning and welcome to the Polka Melodies on a Sunday morning, February 18th. Oh, no, it's the 19th of February, 2012 out there. Good morning and welcome to the Polka Melodies. It's 10 o'clock already, all the way up until noon today on Sunday, February 19th, 2012. It's the Polka Melodies, all the way until noon today.
Hello, hello, hello. What a wonderful word. Hello, 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 hello. You can hear it wherever you go. And when you greet your friends with polka dances, or even someone you don't know who